Welcome to Inside Scoop Live. Hello, I'm Susan Violante. I'm your host for today. I'm really excited to be speaking on the phone with Imowen Lodestone, author of Seasons of Pain, a unique urban fantasy that explores the supernatural and horror worlds in a new perspective and point of view. But before we start, let's learn a little bit more about Imo. Imo was inspired to write Seasons of Pain in large part because of his admiration for the creative genius of fellow writer H.P. Lovecraft. He had always wanted to write a novel dominated by supernatural characters that show readers that the individuals, although endowed with special abilities and keen senses, still get scared and make assumptions. As a result of these failings, they sometimes make mistakes. His goal is to reveal to the reader how supernatural beings experience fear while telling an action-packed tale that does not stop with a scary monster but embraces all brands of fear. For more information on Imowen Lodestone and his book, visit his website at www.seasonsofpainseries.com. Hi, Imo. Thank you so much for being with us today. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Imo, before we start, and to our listeners, we're talking to Imowen Lodestone. He is the author of Season of Pain, which is a series of books that I really, really recommend you check out. The page is www.seasonsofpainseries.com. Imo, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, well, I've always wanted to write a book such as Seasons of Pain with supernatural-dominated cast members. And, whenever they go through their life, and also they make mistakes. So, should be a very interesting read.
It sure sounds like it. The title really caught my attention. I find it very intriguing, especially because, doing this such a long time, a lot of the supernatural titles that I see out there have either very weird names or something that will reference to something positive. But you're talking here about Seasons of Pain, so it's kind of, I imagine, something like really, really, really thrilling or bad. I don't know what I imagine, but it's really intriguing. So how did you come up with that title?
Well, actually, Seasons of Pain, what it represents is what the main character is going through, and pretty much like what's going on, the whole entire like supernatural, society is going through like a nasty struggle. Just focus on the main character. Her struggles are her family, and the life she left behind of being a witch. But then also the struggle with her, she's being what she is, a supernatural being. She can't, forget who she is. Even though she's exiled, she gave up casting magic. She tell everybody that I don't cast magic anymore. I'm not a witch. I just want to live my life. And also, what's going on with Jessie is pretty much that like anybody who reads this book and pretty much identify with. She has her struggle just like everybody else does. Whether it be her struggle is dealing with the family, her supernatural past, and also her not so good love life with men. And I would say from the first beginning of the chapters, I immediately make the connection with the reader who can identify with this. And also dealing with the supernatural society itself. I mentioned this like throughout the book that there's been two wars, the psychic and vampire war and the great civil war the supernaturals had with each other. And some of them, I go into detail one aspect of it, but it's a very broad topic or plot, if you will, at how it affected, a group, an individual. Is this struggle, stuff overcome, supernatural overcoming their own struggles, personal agenda, all that good stuff. So pretty much this opens up a big, wide door, for the reader to actually immerse themselves into a world like, hey, I can really get into this. This is really cool.
So basically, you're going to take the readers to a totally different world, experiencing very human-like emotions and struggles.
Yeah, I would say that, there'll be a correct answer. It's a totally different world, but here's the kicker. It takes place today. And just imagine supernaturals walked among you, and this is how the world looks. Like to us, like maybe we see life as it is, but to the supernaturals, they'll call our life fake. It's nothing but frosting. It's like frosting cake covering over a lie. You have no idea what's really out here.
I haven't read your book, but I've checked all your website and your Facebook. And listeners, I suggest you check the Facebook page so that you can learn more about the story as well. And it's basically facebook.com/Seasons of Pain series, and you'll be able to learn a little bit more. But what I really am liking is that even though this is supernatural and maybe fantasy and stuff with vampires and war and everything, it also has kind of a touch of a little bit of sci-fi in the sense that you have two different worlds, parallel, if you will, and three-dimensional characters in developing and interacting in the story. Why did you choose to make all your characters three-dimensional?
Well, I start with the main character first of making Jessie the way she is, and then just came across my mind like, why not make them all three-dimensional? And the reason why the characters are all three-dimensional because it's like to keep the pace of the story going, and also there's another bridge to the reader. As we're going through tough times in our life, you come across people. You come across people that's going to help you, or maybe some people's going to stop you, or you may even give some insight on something you succeeded in that person is going through. So each of the characters, I call them the rock stars. They're all three-dimensional. They have their own goals, their agenda, and what they want to do. So not only you're getting a treat of making the character's life, also you're getting a treat of also learning more about other characters, and also keeps you guessing, will this other character pop up again? Or maybe this is the last time I see this character again. Who knows?
What? This is a series of books, first of all, and so how many? Do you have a plan of how many books and how the story will progress all throughout, or you're just letting the story take you for a ride yourself?
Everything what you said, but this again, the more detail about it is, first off, with how the series is going to play out is, you're with Jessie. She has to go through her stuff. What she's going to have to get past it. But as far as the series, I really don't know how this series is going to end. This may sound like a shock to the readers or the listeners. I'm telling you honestly, I do not know how many books it's going to be or how this is going to end. It's not only it's something new I've written, I like it, but even me as an author, I don't even know how this is going to end, because even from back reading, my own proofing, just reading it completely unbiased.
Yeah. That actually is making me want to read it more, because as a writer myself, I actually know how it ends before I know how it begins. So I'm totally backwards.
Trust me, it's from looking at it, I was guessing. I was like, wow, I really outdid myself. But I can tell you right now, currently the sequel's already written. That's already put to bed. But you have to go through the editing, and everything else with it. Currently, I'm on book 3. I can give you a little tidbit about book 3. Book 3 is you're just reaching the tip of the iceberg, because I'm about to indulge into supernatural society, from the belly of the beast. One faction wants to do this thing, the other faction wants to do another thing, and overall, I tied in some stuff that's going on today in the United States of America, which is the government, and something happened, and you have supernaturals becoming congressmen now.
Oh wow!
They don't like how the status quo has it going, and so I'm dealing with one state that the main character and the love interest ends up in, and the supernatural he took over, and pretty much he's doing everything everything in his power to go against the current president in power.
It's amazing how you're developing a world parallel to ours, and that can be different and at the same time so similar in, in our human nature and even the structure with government and everything. And I'm wondering, where did you get your inspiration for this? Are you inspired by people, by society, how did all this get in your mind?
A little bit of everything, but the main thing that really, gave me the drive to add human aspect to my work is I think I was going for my associate's degree. And associate's degree, I was doing some creative writing off to the side, and I had a mentor. And the key thing that, both instructors told me, I said, why don't you add some real life stuff to your writing? As you know, with our fiction, right, be like, yeah, whatever. Nobody wants to read about reality. Nobody cares about that. But when I really thought about it, it was not a bad idea. But it's like one of those things, you can do this, but you only can do it once. It's like, make sure you know what you're doing, because you can easily mess this up. So that's what stuck with me. And I used it. It actually works. And I decided to go with it, because to me, if you bring the human element, even the struggles going on today, to me, is like, once I brought that into Seasons of Pain, I just figured the reader's going to have fun. Is not only as a horror, but also it brings fun and gives you something like to immerse in. It makes you actually look at your current what's going on in your government, and remember that word, like, what are you going to do about it? Like, this is how it's affecting them, and this is how these guys are doing it.
What is the message, though, that you want to convey in your work in this series to the readers?
Well, my main goal for Seasons of Pain is, like I said before, is building many bridges I can to the reader, and that's what it's all about. To me personally, this is my opinion. A lot of authors and a lot of creators have kind of strayed away from it. If you don't get your audience in the first chapter, at least the first couple chapters, they're not going to read your stuff. And I'm going to the aspect as George Lucas did, like he did with Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, like he did with Han Solo and Princess Leia. He touched on every male in that theater watching his movies. Oh, yeah, I know what kind of girl you like. This is how she feels about you. So what are you going to do about it? I feel the same way, too. So, and if you ask anybody who loves Star Wars, they'll say Luke Skywalker. They'll say something had a daddy issue, or they say Han Solo. Say, yeah, man, I was like Han Solo. That's how I met my wife. It's pretty much the same thing. And those are the little tidbits that, just like, well, that's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. You have to, that's how you get readers interested, how you get readers to have fun, how you get readers to relate, get them to feel stuff. So I want you to feel more than just horror. I want you to feel, everything you can possibly out of the series.
Well, but it's true though. I'm only right. I'm actually a bookworm. I'll read anything. I'll read from horror to self-help. So it's just, that's what it is. Is I like it when I relate to whether it's one character or whether it's even to the narrator. Sometimes when it's a third-person narration, if I don't like the narration, the narrator's word, whatever's coming out of his mouth or the style he speaks or whatever, it's a turnoff to me. So you have to relate in order to really get into that author's mind or new world that they're creating. And do you consider your writing to be, you said in an email that your writing is aggressive. So I'm wondering, is this why your writing style is aggressive, because you want to hook the reader into your grasp, or why do you consider it aggressive?
Well, you got the first part right. It's easily to catch the reader's attention. Like, whoa, just the first couple sentences of the first paragraph, is as soon as you get them to go, whoa, it's like, now you got them. But it's the going deeper reason why I write aggressive is, number one, I don't censor myself when I write. I just don't do it. There's some cuss words in Seasons of Pain. There's some sex scene. There's a sex scene in there, but it's it's not like ongoing. It's just elements that has to be used for my type of writing. Also, this type of story, and also the reason why I'm writing that was like full throttle aggressive, because I'm showing the reader not only it's cool to be a supernatural. Oh yeah, it's fun. But here are the negatives that you got to go through. Here's what you got to go through. You know, you have to work before you wake up in the morning, you know, stuff like that. You know, you talk to your friends, you know, you have beef with this warlock, and all of a sudden this guy's trying to kill you before you have dinner. You know, that's why I write Full Throttle. It's like, this is a fast-paced lifestyle, and this lifestyle is thrust upon Jessie. She didn't ask for this, even though she wasn't part of the coven. She thought she was doing good, you know, with, you know, this being a good witch, but no, you're supernatural. It's full throttle. It's like, either you survive or you die. That's just plain and simple. And so that's another message to the reader is, you know, it's when you acquire, you know, real power. I'm not talking about the politics and stuff like that. I'm talking about when you acquire real power. So, like, you know, what are you going to do with it? You can do it for good, do it for evil, or, you know, and one thing that a lot of writers don't talk about, the consequence of having that power. And also the consequence is like rivals, people who are jealous of you, people who will do anything within their power to take you out. And it could be measured from like a really strong guy, you know, he's a real strong dude, you know, everybody loves the dude, you know, but there's this one dude, you know, his best friend looks at him and just jealous of him. I'm going to figure out a way to take him out. Kind of like the whole Othello thing. Mm-hmm. His friend was jealous of Othello because he was this great man. You know, he did everything in his power. He wanted what Othello had, and he did that to him. So I just figure, you know, this is the reason why my writing is like that. So I would say if you compare it like to an actual sitcom, it'd probably be something you have to look at something on at 12 p.m. Something like Sons of Anarchy a little bit, but you know, this is their supernatural lifestyle. This is how it is.
Yeah, and it's very relatable in the sense that you were talking about, because we all have to make a decision when at some point in our lives where you know, we feel powerful not only in what's gonna the consequences to us, but sometimes we might find ourselves in a powerful position towards another human being or even pets. You know, and it's our decision whether we're going to do good or bad that's going to bring a good thing or a bad thing. Inside Scoop Live is a global internet-based broadcast specialized in interviewing published authors about their current books and their areas of expertise. Join us and hear both well-known and upcoming writers talking candidly about their life experience as well as the business of being an author in today's literary world. Always interesting and current, we strive to bring our audience high-quality discussions that spotlight a vast diversity of authors in the field today. Our interviews are available 24/7 through direct podcasts as well as MP3 download from your computer for your convenience. Please visit us at InsideScoopLive.com. Welcome back to Inside Scoop Live. Today I'm talking with Imowen Lodestone, author of Seasons of Pain. Stay tuned because we are going to continue this fun, interesting, and sometimes enlightening conversation with Imo about vampire versus supernatural, taking horror in different directions, three-dimensional characters, and why his writing style is aggressive. But in the meantime, you can check out Seasons of Pain and his other books by visiting his website at www.seasonsofpainseries.com. I was intrigued. I went to Amazon and I checked out the book there, and I realized that on your preface you explained some aspects of your book. Why do you feel the need to explain this to the readers in the beginning?
It's horror, but it's different. And when people, it's like, for example, think about it. You know, you're on Amazon. You know, when you look at horror books, you have something already like prejudged in your mind what you want to buy. Mm-hmm. And some people will look at Seasons and think, oh, this is going to be a little horror book. You know, woman on the cover, blah blah blah. You know, monsters. That's not what I'm going at. Is one of the whole like definition of horror I'm going to acquire like all of it, all the definition of it, whether it be versus behavior against the truth about yourself. You know, showing fear like you know this deadly secret that can really destroy your mom. You know your mom's past. Like, you know, she's this really loving woman. You know, but really what you found out about her, she was a cold-hearted CIA agent and just killed for the pleasure of it. You know, that's the essence of horror I want to, you know, bring in 2 Seasons of Pain that is very lacking, in my opinion, in the horror genre, and that's why I feel I have to explain this to readers. Like, this is what you're going to read. You're not going to be reading typical horror. You're going to be reading horror, all of it. You're getting all of it. It's some of the stuff they might even miss. They're gonna have like one part in book 1 to give you a teaser. When Jessie she's talking to Ashley, and Ashley reads her, you know, when she got an abortion, and she says, "Did you tell Mark yet?" And she's like, "No." And it's the slight pause. And Ashley says, "Well, I think you better tell him." She's like, she just kind of just shrugs off, "Oh, you know, whatever." But you reading that, and also you hearing that, you know, like, sweetheart, you better say something.
Before it starts showing.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, that's I figure, you know, this. It's just something like for, like, you know, I would say this book is just for, like, you know, the hardcore reader. The hardcore reader that looks at every nook and cranny of every sentence. Like, oh, yeah, I know where you're going with this. I'm going to circle this. You ain't going to surprise me with this. You know, that's the type of people I want reading that. Just really immerse yourself into it. So that's why I figure, you know, you have to explain this. Like, you're getting all the phases of horror instead of just creatures and monsters. I have monsters in there, but, you know, I just refer to monsters to me as just like, you know, a kicker. Nobody likes a kicker, but he's needed, you know, to kick that field goal.
I noticed also that you explain some aspects of your formatting with capitals and uncapitals, certain words, and I actually really love that you did that, because nowadays it's not a standard in every writing. And with the internet and the freedom, I guess, if you will, and the quantity of new authors coming out, all the standards in grammar and whatever has evolved to a different monster right now. And so I really love that you did that, being myself a reader and even reviewer. And what impulsed you to do that, actually, to explain where you were coming from on your formatting?
Oh, okay. So you mean like some words get capital, some words get small,
yes.
Get small, lowercase. Yeah, that was to give like a little more fun for the reader again. The lower, as you probably already know, the lowercase means showing like it's respected. And the uppercase means is, you know, you're showing respect. So like, for example, like, you know, I think it's like in book 1, I think what it actually says something about, say, oh, we got to deal with these psychics that really is in that lowercase. That's an insult. So that's fun for the reader who's reading it. That's just fun for them, like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. Okay, they don't like each other. Okay, I get it. So it just gives, you know, more freedom towards the reader. They can have fun with that. So I just figure like that will be like the biggest, even though it's a little small thing, but it might be the biggest thing to someone reading it.
And I love you did that, because it's guiding you more as a, you know, the author is guiding the reader to be able to comprehend what the intention is with the capital or whatever, what the intention of what's going on is. This is an insult, even though there's a word that could be an insult or not, but because you put it in lowercase, then we know what to do, and I'm glad that you put that in the beginning. When I was writing, I was dealing with a different culture. I was writing about Italian people, and I didn't know how to put an accent, you know, in the dialogue so that people can feel that they were in Italy, just to say, per se. And I think that your idea of explaining things like that on the preface is awesome. And I'm going to steal it for my next book, by the way.
No, I don't really consider it a steal. I consider it like, okay. All right, I got you. I should start doing that.
Imo, this is awesome talking to you. You have given me a new perspective in writing style and in organizing a book, a series of books that can, oh my God, you don't even know how it's going to end, but you...
I don't know.
You're writing right there with the readers on this story, letting the characters and the storyline take you somewhere, and I think that is awesome. What would you tell writers that are beginning their first book, now that you have published your first book of the series and you're working on your third, and you kind of have an idea of the whole process and to be able to abandon yourself to the story the way that you're doing? What would you tell a new writer that's just beginning with an idea?
I would say this. Number one thing that you have to do, you have to cut all negative people from your life. You have to get rid of all naysayers. You don't need that. Because me personally, writing is, writing Seasons of Pain, this is not a home, first time I'm reading it is not a home run, blah, blah, blah. We have to keep working at your craft, keep working at it. And also, question yourself. Ask yourself a lot of questions whenever you come into writer's block. The thing is, I would say for other writers, just stick with your craft. If it feels like you have to research something, research it. Do it. If you feel like you have to talk to someone or talk to a soldier about a certain character, do it. It's you yourself can be your own worst enemy, but just don't be your own worst enemy. Just if you feel like something you have to do, just do it. Just do it, for writing's sake. Mm-hmm. But the most important thing, you just can't have negative people around you, because one thing with negative people, is like once you're happy with something that you're doing, they start doing a little negative thing to you. Just don't argue with them. Don't waste yourself at that. Just put all your energy and your love into your writing, something you can do, because you're doing something that nobody else can do, is pulling something out of your head and putting it down in reality.
Very well said.
That's like being a god. And what did they do today?
Yep.
What did they do? Nothing. Went to a job to somebody, be somebody's little slave, do what you got to do, right? Or just do what you got to do. Cut all the negative people out.
I couldn't agree more with you. Listeners, we've been talking with Imowen Lodestone about his book, Seasons of Pain, the first of his series of Seasons of Pain. You can check it out at seasonsofpainseries.com. You can visit the website, and also you can go to facebook.com/seasonsofpainseries.com. Imo, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I can't wait to see what else you come up with in this series, and rest assured that I will be checking out your book.
I'll keep you posted.
Yes, please do so. You got my email. I think you even have my cell phone at some point. So do let me know what you're going. Again, thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And to you listeners, again, check it out at seasonsofpainseries.com. And again, thank you so much for being with us. And I'm so